I didn't even hear that theme song. Does that sound like Mr. Nat King Cole? It doesn't make any difference. It could be Benny Goodman. Mr. Ash says you're on, Bill, so here we are.
So
why are we here?
Well, we have a program that's important to people like me, and if I dare say, yourself as well.
If you're talking about mental health, you're probably exactly right.
Well, it really is, but it's senior life solutions, and we certainly qualify.
Don't get nasty with me now. Good morning. Welcome to Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. Today we have perspectives, which would be, and some personalities to go with that. We did have an election, and I guess congratulations to those who prevailed at the election. And thank you for those who did not prevail, who had the cojones to go out and run for office. So thank you for those who make yourself available to be elected. Kudos, right here. If I could just remember where I put what page it is. We have a hometown boy who done made good.
Good.
Coach, get the notes here before I drop everything. I want to talk about hometown heroes, too.
Yeah.
That's very important. We're going to do something about that.
Okay.
Well, we have a gentleman by the name of Zach Mullins, who made Heart of America Athletic Conference Coach of the Year.
Oh.
I mentioned that because Zach's a local boy with local roots, and that's a big deal, and congratulations to Zach Mullins.
Well, bless his heart.
Yes. I also wanted to make note of the fact that Mr. Kirby Rogers, representing the Lincoln Rotary Club, had done a yeoman's job in preparing Hometown Heroes banners. Now, for those of you who are unenlightened about Hometown Heroes, somebody came up with the idea in this country to work particularly well in small communities to represent those who have been in service in the community. And the essence of it is that shortly there will be a bunch of banners put up around Scully Park, the Courthouse Square, and Latham Park. And the banners will include the pictures of the gentleman and also a lady. See, we're not used to remembering that ladies serve in the military in uniforms, and some of them to a very, very considerable degree in combat, and that's unusual. But anyway, Hometown Heroes are going to be a bunch of banners put up around the square, and people's families and or friends have subsidized the cost of these. The banners are $50 a piece, and I've seen them. They're very nice, and I told my brother he and I are going to hang from the same pole.
The yardarm?
My brother was in the Air Force as well as myself, and I said, well, they're going to hang us both from the same pole, Jack. So thanks to Kirby Rogers and the Rotary Club, it's a big deal. And so now, one final kudo, and I think it's very important. Last Saturday night, I went out to the KFCs to the fundraiser for Holy Family. They had an event called the Mardi Gras. It was a fun party out there. Somebody did, Carolyn Edwards Higgins and some other committee members did a whale of a job in putting that thing together. They raised some money for Holy Family, and it was a very nice affair. They even had the old fellow on the dance floor. 2 steps and I was down. In any event, let's introduce our guests. We have an important morning this morning.
Yes, which precedes an important afternoon this afternoon. From 4 to 6, they're going to be having an open house at the hospital. And you might want to take advantage of that after you hear about it this morning. Go see it this afternoon. And that's 4 to 6 at ALMH. We're going to be talking about senior life solutions. And
Coach, you and I, Jim.
I don't think we can include Jim, bless his heart. Dr. Todd Morning heads up Senior Life Solutions, and with us today also are Kim Rush, and she's program director, program nurse. I already did it wrong. And Bob Liebold, and Bob is a supervisor, a program supervisor, and you work directly with the patients. I shouldn't say patients, I should just say the people who come to see you for Senior Life Solutions. Tell us a little bit, if you would, Todd. Start at the beginning and tell us how you came up with this program, because it's new.
Yes. Again, thank you, Bill and Judy, for having us. It's always a pleasure to come up here to meet with you guys. So, a couple years ago, we started kicking around the idea of starting this program in Lincoln. As you know, mental health is becoming more and more of an issue in our community and in the United States in general. One of our community needs assessments identified mental health as one of the top 3 that we should be working on. You know, we've done some stuff with children with the Mosaic program in the schools, and this was our foray into the senior avenue. Our sister hospital in Taylorville has had a program for about 5 years. So we started looking at it again. We didn't have space where we're going to put it, so we decided to move our finance department into a building. It's Chris Coyne's old insurance building up by Memorial Home Services. Temporarily moved them out, and we have remodeled our finance department into a clinical space for Senior Life Solutions. So what the program is, it's an intensive outpatient therapy program. We have Bobby and Kim. Bobby's a therapist. He'll do 3 groups a day, and he'll tell you more about that in a minute. Kim does nursing assessment and 1 educational group a day. We feed people lunch every day. We have transportation provided if people need transportation. We can help with that. So it's really a great program to help seniors who may be depressed, suffering from grief, loneliness, frequent health issues, chronic health issues. So there's a variety of things that would qualify for somebody to come to our program. There is an insurance qualification. You have to be either Medicare or Medicare Advantage plan.
Well, if it's Senior Life Solutions, you're hitting Medicare right away.
We're hitting Medicare right away, yes. So we do not take any of the program is not designed to take Blue Cross, Health Alliance, stuff like that. If it's a secondary insurance, secondary to the Medicare, then okay. But the primary insurance has to be the Medicare or the Medicare Advantage.
Yes.
And there is an age cutoff, and that's 55. So I'm almost there. I got 5 years. So.
I got kids older than you, Todd.
I'm 45 years past. You mean there's no help for the widow's son?
No.
God.
Now, I think that's discriminatory. Here I am, 95 years old. If anybody was in their dotage, it would be me. Anybody in need of mental health. My wife says I should take Prevagen. So, and you mean to tell me, sit there and boldly tell me on this air, WLCN, that there's no room at the end for me?
Oh, well, Bill, I think we've got room to make you the face of the program if we wanted to. So,
you mentioned at the beginning here about mental health and depression. Is that one of the prime problems as you become a senior?
Well, I'm going to toss that to Bobby. Bobby is a licensed clinical social worker. He is our therapist, so he will be doing the 3 mental health groups every day, if we can call them that. And so I'm going to kick that to him and let him talk a little bit about that.
Go for it, Bob.
Judy, that's a great question, and thanks for asking it, because that's a great segue into one of the things that I really, really try to impart folks that come to our program to learn about it, is that depression and anxiety in the elderly is not normal. It's not a part of aging. It's a flag, and we should take it seriously. What we tend to do as a society is when someone 65 or older gets depressed or anxious, we say, well, that's just normal part of aging. They're losing friends, they're losing loved ones, they're losing their functioning sometimes, their health is failing them at times, and so it's normal to be depressed or to be anxious. And I am here really to say that it's not, and we need to pay attention to it, and we need to treat it, and we need to treat it and take it very seriously.
I ask a question. Excuse me, go right ahead, please.
Oh, because it's so rampant, either that or they've decided to pay a lot of attention to it. You hear more and more and more about mental health for little kids on up. And it's not normal, you say, but so many people suffer from it. Either that or they just notice that people suffer from it.
Correct.
Well, let me ask you a question here, Robert, if I may, please. Uncle Elmer gets forgetful and he puts the food in the stove instead of the refrigerator and little things like that. They're telltale signs of whatever the problem may be. And are you saying that that is not normal? Normal adult forgetfulness? It would seem to me I use the word normal because I do forget a lot, as Jean will tell you. As a matter of fact, she might write a paper on this for you. And that's not a normal thing for me to get forgetful?
Well, what I would say
Get the car
is,
and wonder why I'm there?
what I would say is, if it's a change from your baseline, then we should take a look and see what else could be going on.
My baseline.
Well, because I've been forgetful all my life. So forgetful after age 65 for me, that's going to be my baseline. But for someone who's been pretty sharp, a lot sharper than me, and in their later years begin to get forgetful, that is certainly something we want to pay attention to, and we definitely want to assess to make sure there's not something else going on, because memory problems are associated with depression, and when you're depressed, your short-term memory is affected. So we want to pay attention to that, but more importantly, we want to make sure there's not any sort of dementia onset or Alzheimer's, something even more serious. So we want to make sure we look at it and make sure that it's being addressed.
If you find that it's something awful like Alzheimer's, is there much by way of treatment? And with your Senior Life Solutions, will you be seeing people who are having that problem?
With respects to Alzheimer's and its treatment, that's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. I'd have to refer Dr. Todd, to a physician for that. So I'll leave that to the physicians. But as far as treating folks with dementia or Alzheimer's, what I would say is if they are a newly diagnosed patient and they come to our program and they are able to participate cognitively, then we can certainly help them with adjustment, acceptance, because they're going to be going through a grief process. They just got a pretty heavy diagnosis laid on them. So there is going to be a grief process with that. So we can certainly help them with that, coping strategies to manage the illness, but probably more importantly, helping the family. Because it's important to help them through this process as well, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be the primary caretakers for that individual as the disease progresses. So it's very important to address the family as well. So our program is holistic in that we are going to treat not just a person, but any loved one that wants to participate in their loved one's care and treatment. We're going to be there to support them as well.
You talk about the family. How much of an integral part are the kids of the senior's life and the senior trying to make solutions about their life?
Well, it's a great question, and it's critical, in my opinion. You have to treat the system, the family system, and support them. It's great to have the patient in the treatment program. That's wonderful. We're going to be teaching them lots and lots of information on how to manage and cope and whatever it is they come in with to manage and cope with the diagnosis. But it's also going to be critical to help the family as well, because they're a part of the loved one's life, the integral part, and they're going to be seeing this person on a day-to-day basis. So it's important to teach them how to support along the way the patient in their everyday functioning. Plus, they're usually on the front lines. They see things first.
The family, God love them, want what's best for you. I'm talking about in most cases, far and away most cases.
Sure.
And so they try to urge you to do this, Mom or Dad, or do that, Mom or Dad, and don't do that anymore. And they mean so well, but it kind of robs you of your need to make plans for yourself and make solutions for yourself.
Sure.
Now, we're sitting here talking about mental health. We've already stepped all over the psyche of poor Miss Kim here. We haven't brought her up to the microphone.
That
at
was
all.
naughty.
That's that's naughty. So, Dr. Morning, tell us, number one, about the genesis of this program, and where do we work Kim in? Where do we bring her aboard, and her area of expertise?
Well, Kim, we are very fortunate. Kim comes to us from Carlinville Area Hospital. They have a program exactly like this program. So we were able to hire her away from Carlinville, and so she brings 3 years of direct clinical knowledge to us from Carlinville Area Hospital. So she's been integral in helping us to figure out how to go in the right direction, because Bobby and I are new to the program. Bobby's been around a long time doing therapy, but not specifically in this program. So Kim is our registered nurse. Her role is to medically help to manage the patient on a daily basis as they're coming in for treatment. And I will throw it to her and let her detail that a little bit more.
Hi, Kim.
Hello, thanks for having me. My role in this program is to assist the doctor with the patient's medications. I make sure they're medically stable, that there's no underlying issues going on there that maybe need to be addressed by their regular doctor. The things I look at with the patient are, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? Are you getting some form of exercise? Because all that fits together with mental health.
Yeah, and that's something that you don't tell people. My kids ask me, what do you have for breakfast? Cereal, and you lie. Just so they'll be happy.
And sometimes just not getting enough sleep at night is huge in your mental health. You don't think clearly, you're tired, you're run down. So I kind of look at the things that are going on with their physical body. In nursing education group, we talk about those things, how to get better sleep, how can you eat better, work more fruits and vegetables into your diet. People think sometimes because they're older they can't exercise. There's exercise for everyone. Even if you're chair-bound, you can do some form of exercise, and it all fits in.
It's been such a lousy winter that I bet that's been an awful problem for seniors.
Sure.
Unless they have to, you don't go out. It's cold and slippery.
As a normal course of events, the family physicians refer their patients to your expertise?
They can, but we take self-referrals. Anyone can refer. It does not require a doctor's referral. All we ask is that the patient knows they're being referred.
Well, there's my problem right there.
So,
you can refer yourself, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that you are willing. We don't force anybody to come in. We want to make sure that you are voluntarily willing to come in and explore the treatment options.
You can't help anyone with anything who's unwilling.
Correct. And Kim alluded to our physician. We have a board-certified psychiatrist. His name is Ron Johnson. He actually lives in Carbondale, and so something new for ALMH, we are going into the telehealth field. So whereas Jim's got this camera pointed on me right now, we have in one of the rooms, and if you come tonight to see, you'll see it, in one of the rooms we have a television and a camera, and we will remotely connect to him through telehealth to Carbondale. And that's becoming huge, especially in the mental health field, because there is such a shortage of mental health providers. He can be sitting in his office in Carbondale and connect with us and treat our patients and have a conversation that's just as clear as you and I having a conversation right now. So it's really something big for this program, and really for ALMH, it's a new thing.
I suggest that there's more than a finite line of difference, and I stand corrected here with experts, but there's more than a fine line of difference to people who are forgetful, in the normal sense of the use of the word forgetful, as opposed to a pattern of people who do funny things like put the wrong food in the stove or the refrigerator, or forget where they put their car keys or things like that on a regular basis. You can tell that the patient has an ongoing problem or just a mental lapse. Am I correct in that?
Well, I would say that forgetting where your car keys, where you put your car keys, is far different than taking your car keys and putting them in the microwave. And so that would be, it's kind of a processing issue, sequencing and steps. So that would definitely be something that would definitely raise awareness to someone in your life to say there's something very wrong.
How far do people generally get into this problem before somebody notices it? Can it build for years, or does it just build for a short while?
Typically there's signs very early on, but a lot of times they'll get dismissed by the person as just regular forgetfulness, and by family. Sometimes it's denial, and other times they're not around enough to really see the subtle nuances and differences. It takes something pretty dramatic, like turning the oven on and leaving it and forgetting that it's on, or cooking something and forget that you're cooking something, and fire alarms start going off before someone really notices it.
I've always been a ditz, and so it's just a matter of type and degree,
Well, that's why
Her daddy told her that for years.
Well, that's why I said early on, it's about your baseline. I mean, if you're
A
Judy,
ditz.
to borrow your term, ditz. If you're a ditz all your life, so that's your baseline.
But she's a lovable ditz.
Exactly. So that would not be out of the realm of ordinary for you then.
Yeah.
But for other people, all of a sudden becoming a ditz or doing some things that are just out of character for them is certainly a red flag.
Dr. Morning, this is a new service for the community by ALMNH. Whence cometh the initiative, the drive that started this idea?
Well, we've known for a while that mental health in our community is growing. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation has some data that says at least 17.7% of our Medicare population are depressed. It's probably much higher than that. So we identified this as a community needs assessment, one of our top three. So it would seem to be the right time. We had the ability to renovate a space to get it inside the hospital. So it's kind of like all the chips just lined up at this point, and we decided it was ready.
Memory and forgetfulness, the subject of the morning, which certainly segs right into my problem. Almost forgot our commercials. So we're going to take a moment out and acknowledge our sponsors. Go right ahead, Mr. Ash. And having moved Mabel on the control console so Mr. Ash can get to the controls, I hope we're right back live again in the studios of WLCN. The program is Viewpoint, of course, airing each Wednesday morning, 8:15 to 9 o'clock. It's a particularly interesting subject, particularly some of us older people, about memory and memory problems, and some of them can be a very severe, very serious impact on families. We brought Kim in from Carlinville, Illinois, and Mr. Dr. Morning is afraid to go down there anymore since he stole her and brought her up here. So, because she has a great area of expertise. Let's go a little bit further with that, Kim. A typical day for you as you see patients.
Well, the first thing we do is get the patients all checked in, and that means assessing where their vital signs are at, make sure the blood pressure is not too high, make sure they're not running a fever, anything, that would need some medical attention. We also do a little mental assessment. Patient self-assesses themselves, and they kind of rate how they're feeling today. Are you depressed? Are you anxious today? And then Bobby, our therapist, will get that information and kind of know where each patient is when the day starts.
So you've assessed them completely then by the time he meets them.
Right. And that whole process, while patients are being checked in, the other ones are having coffee, maybe a muffin, some fruit, socializing a little bit with the other group members. Then Bobby will go in and do 2 therapy sessions, and it's in a group setting. So after that, I go in or they have lunch, and that's provided. So After that, I do a nursing group, and Bobby does one more therapy group. So they're getting 3 groups of therapy and 1 nursing education group.
Can you take us through a hypothetical person, the two of you, how you interact and how you know how to direct this person?
We do a free screening on each person that comes to our program. They are not charged for that screening, and Bobby does a psychosocial history. Do you want to elaborate?
It's really a complete mental health assessment is what it is. It's looking at the person, again, holistically, not just what they're coming in for and their symptoms of depression or anxiety, but also socially, spiritually, education. I mean, basically their entire life history we're going to review to get the biggest snapshot of the picture of this person at this point in time. So that, again, we can treat the person holistically because there may be a spiritual component we have to address, and so we want to make sure we don't miss it.
You've alluded to socialization on more than one occasion here.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, you also said something about you're losing your friends. And if that's not enough to depress you, I can't tell you what would be.
That's a great point, and that's part of what makes this program so wonderful is what's called milieu therapy. So the patients are actually in the unit with other folks that have similar issues, going through the same kinds of problems, so losing folks in their life. And it is a chance for them to socialize. It is a chance to get together with other like-minded people, and again, that are struggling with the same things, and bounce ideas off of each other, and build bonds and friendships that last a lifetime.
Is the word group therapy appropriate?
Absolutely.
Under this context?
Absolutely.
And to me, there's an obvious advantage. If I've got something that's bothering me, I can sit down with Mr. Liebold and Miss Kim and Dr. Morning, who will turn me off in a hurry. No, seriously. By the way, just a side issue. Todd Morning came to us many years ago now, Todd, in charge of our therapy, for want of a better term. Is that right, Doctor?
Yes.
And continued his professional education, has his doctorate in his profession, and is to be commended for that.
Yes.
And it certainly enhances his services to our community.
Thank you.
Bob, what is your educational background? It's obvious, very full.
Yes, I have a master's degree from the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and a clinical licensed clinical social worker. I've been in the field for doing what I'm doing for about 24 years now, so I've been around a little bit.
I should have
That's
you
pretty
meet my
obvious.
daughter. You have similar backgrounds.
Speaking of daughters, you suppose that maybe we ought to get her daughters to talk to Mr. Liebold? They seem to be concerned about her.
I hope she's not listening right now.
Miss Kim, you're a registered nurse at the basic level.
Correct.
And have proceeded to further your enlightenment and education in this particular field.
Correct. I'm going to go back to school soon to
Good for
continue
you.
my education as well.
That will enhance
Does that
all
mean
the
you'll be
patients.
leading us?
No.
Oh, good.
That will enhance her ability to serve her patients in a more professional manner.
Correct.
How
for
many
you.
people do you have enrolled at this time? And what's your capacity?
Well, right now we are opening softly, so to speak. We
Yeah,
have
right.
we have a couple that are ready to start on Monday, I believe. Our opening day is Monday, March 4th.
Good.
This is a whole new program then for us.
Brand new. Yep, that'll be the first day we've ever operated this program come Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Another service by ALMH to our
Yes.
community.
So our capacity would be around 10 persons per day. We have a nice big room. If you come to the open house tonight, 4 to 6, you can see all of our space. But our capacity would be around 10 persons per day.
Now, per day, what would a person's schedule be? A person wouldn't come every day, surely.
No, that's a good point. treatment days vary. So you could come 4 days a week, you could come 3 days a week, it depending on what the treatment plan between Bobby and the doctor is determined the frequency that you will need. So it could be 4 days, could be 3 days. You could do 1 day a week as you're filtering out of the program as you're improving. So it's very individualized to what you need.
But a person could come maybe for the coffee hour and not
Well, if you-
stay for the rest
No,
of the day?
if you come for the free coffee, you got to stay the rest of the day.
I see.
And by the way, we have
There's
a
always a
very
price.
nice coffee pot. I don't drink coffee, but I'm very excited about the coffee pot.
Oh, I'm glad you are. I get awfully excited about coffee myself.
Now, I want to qualify something that got a question in my mind, if you excuse the expression. There is an age factor that's involved here, and beyond a certain age, a patient will not be well served. Is that so? You don't take patients beyond a certain age? How did I misunderstand that?
Well, typically your Medicare aged people are going to be 65 and over, but there may be people who are above 55 who might be on Medicare disability that would qualify for the program. What we don't want to do is mix a 24-year-old who's on Medicare disability with somebody who's 75 on Medicare. That's just not a good mix. So that's why we've set the age limit at 55, and you have to be above the age of 55 with the qualifying insurance to be able to enter the program. There is no top-end age, so Bill, you're good to go.
About that. I feel a lot better. I'm sure glad I qualified that.
Kim, what would you say in your experience with a program not unlike this was the median age of your people?
I would have to say around age 70, probably. And that was in that area. So every area is a little bit different, but that would be a good estimate.
I'll use the word marked advisedly, I hope. Have you seen patients who have made a marked change for the better?
I think, I'm gonna toss this one to Kim, because Kim has direct experience in a program exactly like this. If you have an example without naming names, and protected health information, of course.
Now let's protect Grandpa Hogg.
But could you give an example of somebody who came through the program and had these issues and
Yes.
benefited from it?
We had wonderful success. We had a patient that came in, a young senior, probably late 60s, very depressed, came through our program. As he developed in the program, he became kind of a role model to the others because he was making such good progress. And after he discharged, he came back and had coffee with us. They like to come back and see us, and we like to see them too, because aftercare is just as important. When they graduate, we will give them phone calls for a year and just check and see how they're doing. Do they need to return to us? Is everything going okay? Are you taking your medicine? You know, all those kinds of things, if medication was involved. But this gentleman, while he was in the program, I'm sorry, I got off the subject. I got him plugged into an honor flight, and he was a veteran, and he went on this honor flight and just really did a lot better after.
That brought a lot
Yes.
out in him as well?
Interesting. Yes, I've seen that time after time. I've made it a point to go down once they took me on an honor flight to welcome them home all the time. There's several of us who go down there and make it a point to go. And you see gentlemen who are visibly moved as they come down the line. They're being received home. And I'm happy to hear that the honor flight entered into his background.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a veteran, and I think there was some unresolved,
Sure.
honor things there that.
Issues he
Yeah.
Well, these are real life issues and not theory.
Right.
We sit here all morning and talk about theory if we want, but the bottom line is who is being served. And obviously we have people in the community who have been and are being served in a very direct way, thanks to this program.
Getting back to this man, some people are just more gregarious than others, for sure. Do you suppose that that's a big part or a part at all for these people, that they find themselves alone? The kids have moved away, the spouse has passed away, and the friends are diminishing, and now you say that he made such strides with you.
Correct.
But he had people around him who cared about him.
Right.
How big a factor is that?
It's a huge
That's got to be
factor.
a huge factor.
Right.
A person living alone.
Loneliness. Yeah, loneliness is huge. Coming into group therapy and sharing things with other people his age, and I think that was a huge benefit to him.
So loneliness is a big part
Right.
for a lot of your people,
Right.
evidently.
Because it's a huge risk factor, too, for suicide, social isolation, and loneliness, in senior population.
Is that right?
Yes.
Do you know, I'm sitting here thinking, Mr. Liebold looks like a big
Bone fella, isn't he?
big tackle. And I don't remember any guys when I was going to University of Illinois that were that good looking and that big. It never came to.
Enough flattery. That'll get you everywhere.
Did
you play ball over there?
I played basketball.
Oh, really?
Not at U of I, no.
I had a friend who just told me real quick side. My dear friend had two boys, both athletically inclined. One had a full ride at Missouri on football scholarship.
Wonderful.
And the other boy had a full ride at the University of Illinois on a basketball scholarship.
Wow, good genes.
Oh, boy.
I used to tell him, Jack, I don't know what a novena is, but you better make one twice a day.
Feed him something right?
Like something right. What bumps have come in the road, ladies and gentlemen, or and gentlemen? Have there been any unforeseen bumps that popped up on the road?
In terms of opening the program?
Yes, and how the program's going at this point in time?
I would say overall everything has went very well. And we've had some orders, like our computers haven't come in yet. We're still waiting on
Well,
those.
that's...
Other than that, logistically, our new furniture is there, our artwork is there. We were able to hire great employees right off the bat. So I couldn't really have asked for any better of a transition into a new program. There's still going to be, we're still going to have bumps as we start the program since it's brand new. We're still going to be learning as we go for the first couple years. But in terms of getting it off the ground and getting ready for 9 a.m. on Monday morning, I think we've done great.
Philosophically, our hospital offers our community a whole lot more, not only philosophically, but in reality, a whole lot more other than bed care. We think of a hospital patient, we think of somebody who's gone to the hospital with pneumonia or something like that, and they're there as a patient, as we understand that term. This is just one of several ways that our local hospital serves our community over and above patient care. Not the least of which is where we first brought Mr. Morning into the community as a therapist. Mm-hmm. And that in and of itself is a huge benefit to a lot of folks. And I presume concomitant with that is, as physical abilities improve, the mental abilities improve because the patient feels better about themselves.
That's the way I would like to see this, and certainly the lens through which I look at it is how lucky Lincoln is that ALMH has this program on site in the hospital so that we can treat not only the physical concerns of the patient, but also the mental health concerns. So it's absolutely wonderful. And not too many hospitals can say that.
Well, especially if I dare say, we're not exactly a metropolitan area right here in the cornfield. And I bet there aren't a lot who can go up against us, really.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. All right.
So we do have a phone number if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
The phone number to the department is 217-605-5750. The open house is tonight, 4 to 6 p.m. the way you get to it, you come in the front door, and it's right there. We're right next to the elevators is where we are in the front lobby of the hospital, so it's easy access. So we'd love to have anybody come, have a glass of water, and we've got some cookies for tonight, 4 to 6 p.m. If you want any more information, again, the phone number is 217-605-5750.
Okay, the number where I worked was 5700.
Yes.
Well, they phased out that department.
Was it because I turned away so many people, or was it because
You left and you took the program with you.
Kim Rice,
They could not recover. Yeah.
Kim Rice, Bob Weibold, and Dr. Todd Morning have been with us this morning, exploring a whole new concept of patient treatment at Abraham Lincoln Memorial Hospital, a new program, and I think one that has great prospects for a lot of us, and I use the term inclusively when I say the word us. Thank you very much for being with us, Kim and gentlemen. Let's stop at Old Joe's on the way back.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. See ya.